Josie and I were like a pair of resentful lovers, hurling insults and fists at each other, until he finally declared, "Whoever refuses to divorce is a dog." On the road to divorce, we cursed each other with the most venomous words, but when a tanker truck came hurtling towards us, he suddenly swerved the steering wheel, taking the hit on his side. He gave me an extra 0.01 seconds to live. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself back in the summer after my junior year of high school. Josie was holding a bouquet of flowers, asking if I wanted to give it a try. In the next second, his exhausted face lifted with a grim look. The moment our eyes met, I knew he had returned as well. I found a stack of Sun Yan's portraits in Josie's safe. Heartbroken, I knew he was doomed. Without a word, I rushed up and slapped him twice, scratching his face. At first, he just dodged, but then, in a panic, he pushed me away. "What are you on about? Are you sick?" I grabbed the portraits and smashed them on his face. "I'm sick, you're the sick one, secretly drawing your sister-in-law. Isn't that disgusting?" Watching the scattered drafts on the floor, Josie's eyes reddened. "Su, I've never seen anyone as despicable and venomous as you. You're just jealous of Sun Yan, with ill intentions, but you can't even compare to a fraction of her. Why wasn't it you who died?" I've heard this too many times, but each time, it still drove me mad. I grabbed a stool and rushed at him. "To hell with you." That day, we ended up at the police station. The officer kindly asked if I had been a victim of domestic abuse. I scoffed. "Who do you think you're looking down on? This is mutual assault, understand?" Despite my disheveled appearance and the bruises on my face, Josie was already bleeding from his head. I had won this round. Leaving the police station, we pointed at each other's noses. This marriage had to end. Whoever refuses to divorce is a dog. Who would have thought we'd die on the way to getting a divorce? Just a second before the tanker truck hit, I was still cursing him as a perverted voyeur lurking in dark corners. Josie's face was as black as the bottom of a pot, his teeth clenched. "The one I love is Sun Yan, always has been. If you didn't look exactly like her, do you think I would have been with you, Su? You couldn't hold a candle to Sun Yan." I hated my life for always being compared to Sun Yan. Even though she was dead, I still lived in her shadow. Why should I? My hand reached for Josie's hair. "Come on, let's go down together." The next second, a piercing sound rang out as the tanker truck lost control and rushed towards us. My mind went blank. All I saw was Josie turning pale, fiercely turning the steering wheel, taking the hit on his side. I watched him in a daze. Watching this man who had been entangled with me for 10 years, we always had a tumultuous relationship, constant arguing and bickering throughout these 10 years. Why didn't we split up? Some asked him, others asked me. I remained silent. He just smoked sullenly. No one could explain why. It was just like that year when he, looking listless, held a wilted bouquet of flowers and asked if I wanted to give it a try. How strange. He had just rejected my confession a few days earlier, saying he didn't want to date and preferred to focus on his studies. How could he change his mind so quickly? It wasn't until much later that I learned he had actually intended to confess to Sun Yan, but was turned down. Disheartened and sad, he saw me, a face that looked exactly like Sun Yan's. Subconsciously, he approached me, using me as a substitute, reliving his memories of Sun Yan through me. For 10 years. He truly deserves to die. He should just die. Who needed him to sacrifice his life for mine, just so I could live 0.01 seconds longer? Bad luck. Forget it. Debts are cleared with death. All past grudges and grievances have now dissipated into thin air. I just hope that in my next life when I open my eyes, damn, as soon as I opened my eyes, I saw 17-year-old Josie again. Why am I sure he was 17? Because he was holding a bunch of wilted blue little flying swallows with that dead fish expression on his face. I don't like little flying swallows. I like roses, red roses, passionate, romantic, and flamboyant. Josie looked at me with disdain, saying I was unbearably tacky. He asked if I knew what the little flying swallows symbolized. Don't you think their shape resembles little swallows fluttering lightly? They symbolize freedom, unbounded. Don't you think that's beautiful? I didn't think so. All I knew was that roses represented love. Lovers always give each other roses, yet, until I was hit and killed by a tanker truck, I never received a single rose. Reborn to this moment, great, even more unlucky, and the most unlucky thing was, Josie looked up. The moment our eyes met, we both saw a familiar look in each other's eyes. Almost without thinking, I knew he had returned too. This year's summer was particularly hot, soon to be a senior, some were bustling to tutoring classes. Others studying one-on-one at home, only I, carefree and reckless, would leave the house before dawn and reluctantly head home at dinner time. Today was no different, kicking pebbles along the way. My resentment was palpable from meters away. Seeing Zhou Ci made me nervous. I liked him. He was the first person I liked as my feelings began to blossom, bittersweet and wonderful. Yet, he rejected my confession, with a distant smile on his face. He said he was only focused on studying at this stage and didn't want to date. I felt embarrassed, annoyed, and sad, nearly crying as I ran away, swearing never to like him again. But when he slowly walked towards me, I couldn't help but stand there, my heart pounding. He said, "Want to give it a try?" Without much thought, I nodded again and again. This undignified, baseline, and unprincipled behavior of a love-struck fool would be the great shame of my life hereafter. Given another chance, I would unhesitatingly sneer at him and silently give him the middle finger. Zhou Ci licked his molars, threw the flowers in the trash, and walked away. 10 minutes later, at my front door, we met again. Shen Feng, full of suspicion and wariness, guarded the door, staring at Zhou Ci. "Who are you looking for?" Zhou Ci, unusually flustered and even cautious, didn't know how to respond. "Auntie, I'm looking for Sun Yan. Could you let me see her? I have something to tell her." "What do you want with Sun Yan? Who are you?" Shen Feng's hostility was palpable. Her eyes widened menacingly as she glared. Zhou Ci was taken aback, hesitating to speak further. I clicked my tongue in irritation. "Didn't I tell you I don't like you? Why are you still coming to my house? You think seeking out Sun Yan will help you? Don't you know she's the one I despise the most? Come with me." Facing Shen Feng's suspicious gaze, I dragged Zhou Ci down the stairs. Zhou Ci's face was somber, and he suddenly shrugged me off. "I know you've come back too. I don't want to dwell on past grievances. If you think I've wronged you, then I apologize. But Su Cici, you should realize, being brought back to this point in time is an opportunity given to us by fate. I will protect Sun Yan no matter what. No one can take her away from me, not even herself. I don't expect your help, but don't interfere, or I won't let you off." Expressionless, I listened to Zhou Ci's heartfelt words and warnings. After he finished, under his fiery gaze, I let out a cold laugh. "Who do you think you are, idiot? Everyone loves Sun Yan. She's outstanding, kind, and beautiful. At school, she consistently topped her class and was a prime candidate for the top university entrance exam scholarships. She excelled in various competitions, was talented in music, dance, and the arts. Yet, despite her talents, she never acted superior. She was always gentle and smiling towards teachers and classmates. At home, she was the pride and hope of her parents and the family, universally praised by everyone. She never disobeyed her elders, always agreeable and sweet-natured, nodding obediently to any high expectations set for her. Yet, it was this same girl who, in the year she aced the college entrance exams, when her parents were hosting a grand celebration amidst everyone's envy and jealousy, climbed to the rooftop and jumped, ending her life. No one knew why she committed suicide, not even me. But as years passed and memories replayed, I began to see the flaws beneath the perfection. Having parted from Zhou Ci on bad terms, I slowly made my way home. Just as I opened the door, I saw Shen Feng handing a glass of milk to Sun Yan. Her gaze was tender as she gently stroked Sun Yan's long hair. "Mom will take you to teacher by soon. She said you're improving quickly, but don't get complacent, you must keep working hard. By the way, do you really not know that boy from earlier? Give me your phone, let me check." "Nian Nian, this is a critical time, you mustn't end up like Su Cici, getting mixed up with those shady boys. Su Cici has already ruined herself. I only have you left, you must make us proud. Now, hurry up and drink your milk while it's warm." Shen Feng had noticed my presence long ago, yet, she didn't care much. Even rolling her eyes at me disdainfully, I thought to myself quietly, as a daughter who's considered a failure, I couldn't just bear this infamy for nothing. So I stepped forward, snatched the glass from Nian's hand, and smashed it on the ground with a crash. "Su Cici, what are you trying to do?" Shen Feng yelled hysterically. I raised my eyebrows. "From now on, if I can't have this milk, neither can Sun Yan. Did I ever drink milk when I was very young? I can't remember. Since I can remember, I've never touched the good things at home. Those fine foods and well-balanced meals, whenever my chopsticks nearly touched them, Shen Feng would slap my hand away. "What are you eating? This is prepared for Nian Nian. It's a waste to give it to you. Might as well feed it to a dog. At least a dog can guard the house. What can you do?" Initially, I would cry and make a fuss about it, But instead of getting what I wanted, I only got a beating. Shenfang never held back when hitting me. She would lift her hand high and strike down hard, causing a loud smack, and my face would turn away from the force, half of my face and head going numb. Su Sisi, are you rebelling against the heavens? You still want to drink milk? Have you thought about whether your grades even deserve it? Comparing yourself to Nian Nian, have you even looked at yourself? Get out of this house, you're not welcome here. Saying this, she picked up a whip from the table to hit me. This time, I didn't just take it. I ran, knocking down tables, chairs, and vases. While I did, the house filled with the sound of crashing, becoming more and more chaotic. Shenfang screamed and chased after me. No matter how chaotic or noisy it got, Sun Yan just sat there quietly watching, not helping anyone or stopping anything, even indifferently picking up a book from the table to read. That was until I snatched her cell phone. Finally, she looked up at me. Her indifferent gaze showed a moment of confusion, then stiffness. Stiffly watching as I took the cell phone and rushed into her room, slamming the door shut. The first thing I wanted to do was lock the door, but the lock was broken and couldn't be locked. I could only lean against it with my back. Outside, Shenfang's kicks and curses could be heard. A twisted yet exhilarated smile appeared on my face as I took out the phone and dialed, crying out, "Hello, is this 110? My mom is trying to kill me. Please come quickly, save me." Shenfang was taken away. After she continuously resisted, scratched a police officer's neck, and threatened to kill me, she faced 24 hours of detention. The police looked at me with pity, asking if I needed help contacting other relatives. He tactfully told me that their capabilities were limited, and if I insisted on having Shenfang detained, I would face an even more embarrassing situation once she was released. I nodded repeatedly and expressed my thanks, but I insisted on her detention, regardless. At least I can get a good night's sleep. The policeman's gaze grew more sympathetic. He then pointed at Sun Yan. Is that your sister or your little sister? Is she alright? Compared to my pitiful appearance, the always expressionless and detached Sun Yan seemed even more worrying. I gave a bitter smile, tapping her forehead. She said in a voice loud enough for Sun Yan to hear, "That one, her mind's a bit off." Silly really. Sun Yan froze. Her jaws clenched tight, out of humanitarian concern. The police contacted our father, the man who spent his years away, tirelessly making money, only returning home during festivals or when Sun Yan achieved something significant. He politely apologized to the police, assuring them he would return as soon as possible and manage his wife's behavior, but I knew he wouldn't be back for at least a couple of days. After the police left, I yawned. Sun Yan looked at me, her expression unreadable. Stretching lazily, I walked into Sun Yan's bedroom and, without invitation, lay down on her bed. About 5 minutes later, footsteps approached. Opening my eyes, I saw Sun Yan standing by the bed, her face stern. "This is my room." "Oh, please leave." "What if I don't?" "This is my room." Is that all she could say? Not every essay can be a model script, can it? "Oh, you must really treasure this bed, love it especially." Sun Yan didn't reply, her lips pressed tightly together, her gaze at me deepening. "Since you don't like it, lend it to me for the night. It's my first time sleeping on such a soft bed with such fluffy blankets. Feel free to leave, just remember to close the door behind you." I closed my eyes, ignoring her. I don't know how much time passed before she finally left, indeed closing the door, albeit not gently. So she does have emotions. I thought she was above worldly concerns. Turning over, I buried myself in the blankets. Despite what I said to Sun Yan, I wasn't trying to squeeze her out. In this 3-bedroom apartment, there was no room for me. Initially, there was one, the smallest, darkest study. But then Sun Yan started playing the piano. And to accommodate a piano worth tens of thousands, Shenfang cleared out my room and installed a retractable door on the balcony. That space was too small, not even big enough for a single bed. Shenfang bought a foldable bed instead. Su Guiyong disapproved. "This is hardly proper. How can CC live like this?" Shenfang didn't care. "What can we do? We only have so much space." Teacher Bai said Nian Nian is exceptionally talented at the piano, that she could be a master, for Nian Nian's sake. We all have to make sacrifices. If she was as capable as Nian Nian, I'd care just as much about her too. After hearing this, Su Guiyong was silent for a long time before he finally sighed and said nothing more. From then on, I lived in the cramped balcony, and that's where I stayed for nearly 10 years. I resented Shenfang, Su Guiyong, most of all, I resented Sun Yan. She accepted everything as her due, never once speaking up against Shenfeng's harsh treatment, neglect, and abuse towards me. I looked to her countless times, hopeful, only to be disappointed. It even seemed to me that her gaze was cold, condescending, pleased. She hated me, just as I hated her, but what right did she have to hate me? That night, I slept fitfully, haunted by countless dreams featuring Shenfeng and Su Guiyong, but it was mostly about Sun Yan and Zhou Ci. Sun Yan, who fell from the building, his brain crushed, his face unrecognizable. Everyone was screaming, breaking down. They shook my shoulders one by one, demanding, "Why wasn't it you who died?" Those hideous faces gradually became clear. It was Zhou Ci's face. He gripped my neck, his teeth clenched. "Why wasn't it you who died?" I woke up from the dream, drenched in sweat. Upon opening the door, I saw Zhou Ci standing at the entrance, facing Sun Yan, his face flushed, looking like a bashful teenager struck by infatuation. Sun Yan, good morning, have you had breakfast? I bought some, would you like to try?" He lifted his hand as if presenting a treasure. It was more than just some. Sun Yan held the door, not letting him in. His voice was gentle yet distant. "No, thank you. What brings you to my place?" Zhou Ci stiffened, his gaze drifting, then settling on me. I came for Su Cici." Zhou Ci seemed disappointed, silent and sullen all the way. Even as I took breakfast from his hand, he seemed indifferent. After eating a bowl of wontons and drinking a cup of soy milk, he casually handed me a beef bun. "Chen's beef buns, you always said you wanted to eat them. I got them while they were still open. Eat them while you can." I stopped in my tracks. Chen's beef buns, thin-skinned and generously filled, greasy and slightly spicy, had been my favorite breakfast throughout high school, perfect with a cup of freshly ground soy milk. I had indeed mentioned many times how much I missed this breakfast, but Zhou Ci had never responded to this topic. It wasn't that he hadn't heard, nor that he didn't care. He just didn't want to engage with me. Thinking this, I kicked Zhou Ci in the shin. Zhou Ci gasped in pain. "Are you crazy? Going nuts again? You don't want to deal with me? Well, I don't want to deal with you either. Goodbye, never see you again," he yelled furiously at my retreating figure. 2 hours later, at a dessert house, our eyes met. "Why are you here? Welcome." His face showed confusion, mine a forced smile. The dessert shop, named a family dessert house, was run by Zhou Ci's cousin. At that moment, he was questioning his cousin. "Did you hire her? Don't you know the law? She's underage." His cousin chuckled. "If you don't tell, and I don't tell, who would know she's underage?" Zhou Ci glared, then turned to question me. "Why did you come here to work? Did you think this naive sister was easy to fool? Why are you looking for a job? Need money?" I smirked. Word by word, "None of your business." Throughout the afternoon, I greeted and served customers, while Zhou Ci sat in a corner, puffed up like an angry blowfish. By the time I looked again, he was already sleeping with his head tilted back and his mouth open. My cousin nudged me with her elbow. "Does my little brother have a crush on you? Are you two an item?" I cleared the table expressionlessly. "He likes my sister." "Huh, my twin sister, who looks exactly like me." Yikes. Some kind of stand-in drama. Is he that bad? Wait for me. I'm going to beat him up. Good news number 1, Zhou Ci was chased around and scurried out of the dessert shop after being beaten by his sister. Good news number 2, I got the part-time job after the trial period, earning 10 yuan per hour with double pay on holidays, paid monthly. Coming out of the dessert shop, Zhou Ci was still squatting at the corner. He stood up when he saw me. "Spit it out if you have something to say. Can't you speak nicely? I'm leaving if you don't." "What did you tell my sister? Why did she hit me?" I rolled my eyes, completely uninterested in entertaining him, yet Zhou Ci grabbed me. "Su Cici, have you always been living on the balcony? Why, your family clearly has a 3-bedroom home, so why stay on the balcony? Did you buy that big house and order a 3-meter wide bed because of this? And why do you sleep in the study every time I'm not home? And what? Is this never going to end?" I shook him off impatiently. "We're no longer anything to each other. There's no relationship now, and there won't be in the future. Mind your own business, don't pry into my affairs. What does he have to do with me? Anyway, yes, you always want what you lack. I bought that big house and ordered a 3-meter wide bed because I never had it, but that big house, that big bed, made me scared. It was so empty, it was unsettling, only nesting in a cluttered study. Lying on a narrow sofa bed, could I feel safe? How ironic. How sad. I thought I could make up for my childhood deficiencies by growing up, But it turned out to be the poverty of my life. Upon being released from detention, Shenfang immediately called the tutors from various cram schools to make up for the lessons Sun Yan missed. Then she rushed into the kitchen to cook a nutritious meal for her precious darling. At first, she glared at me, wanting to hit me. I waved my phone, "Dare to hit me. And I'll call the police." Shenfang was so angry she was gasping. "Give Nian Nian her phone back." "No, either buy her a new one, or she won't use one anymore." Her face flushed with anger. Shenfang then spent a good deal of time checking on Sun Yan, asking if I had mistreated her in the last 24 hours. Sun Yan, listless, just shook her head, saying nothing. This only confirmed Shenfang's suspicions that I had been up to no good, but she hesitated to actually hit me. She could only clutch at her chest. What a sin! Why did I have to give birth to such a troublemaker? You're ignorant and still bullying Nian Nian. I should have strangled you at birth. Why didn't I strangle you? Unable to vent her anger, she ultimately chose to ignore me, as if I didn't exist. There was no food for me at home. Not even the water wasn't taken to Sun Yan's room. I just shrugged and went to the balcony. I ate a few slices of toast and a sandwich by the light of the window outside, savoring the deliciousness. From that day on, Shenfang completely excluded me. If it weren't for fear of what others might say, I probably wouldn't even be able to enter this house, but I didn't mind at all. I went to work early each day and only returned at nightfall. When I was hungry, I ate bread. When I was thirsty, I drank mineral water. The only annoyance was Zhou Ci, who always seemed to linger around. That day, a heavy rain began to fall. It felt stuffy at first, but then a gust of wind brought a chill. Leaving the store, I shrugged my neck and hesitated about which way to go. Zhou Ci handed me an umbrella. "Here, take it." I pretended not to see it and even moved a bit to the side. He clicked his tongue in irritation. "What are you trying to prove? Are you not planning to go home? Or do you want to run back in the rain?" His face was full of frustration, and I looked up and glared at him. "What do you really want?" Zhou Ci tightened his grip on the umbrella. "I want to ask you something. Why did Sun Yan jump off the building?" "Su Cici, aren't you worried at all? She's your sister, your blood, born of the same mother. She could jump off a building, commit suicide, die. Don't you want to change that? To save her, you should be by her side, protecting and caring for her, not here making money." Zhou Ci spoke with a forceful and passionate tone, so righteous, so heartfelt. My initial defiance slowly faded, and I even chuckled softly at him. He stiffened, somewhat bewildered, puzzled, and hesitant to speak, but I didn't give him another chance to speak, and turned and ran into the rain. The rain was heavy, hitting me hard. It made it hard to see, and my clothes were instantly soaked, but I didn't stop, running all the way home. My clothes clung to my body, dripping water, extremely uncomfortable. I knocked on the door, but no one answered. I knocked harder, still no response. Exhaling deeply, I sat down exhausted against the door. My body felt chilly and weak, touching my forehead. It felt feverish. It seems troubles never come singly. I must have caught a fever. Shenfang wouldn't open the door for me. Sun Yan wouldn't care about me. I didn't even have the right to a key to this house. I guess I must be the most miserable and useless reincarnated person. Leaning against the door, I dozed off in a daze. I don't know how much time passed, but suddenly the door opened. In the light from the hallway, I saw Sun Yan, in a nightgown with her long hair loose, standing there. I pushed past her into the house. I couldn't help but let out a sneer. "Never thought I'd see the day you'd open the door for me. I thought you would rather have me die outside." Sun Yan didn't speak, just closed the door and crouched down, wiping the water off the floor with a towel. Her action was different from Shenfang's indifference. Sun Yan truly didn't care, didn't pay attention, didn't mind at all. It was as if I were a stranger to her, or perhaps invisible. She couldn't see me, nor did she want to. So why did she turn to me for help? "Sun Yan, have you ever, even once, wanted to stand up for me? In this family, you are adored and receive all the benefits. Yet you've never spoken a word for me. Do you take pleasure in seeing me trampled underfoot, watching me mistreated and abused, while you live like a little princess? Are you happy about that? Do you really hate me that much?" Sun Yan remained silent, but her actions paused. I waited. Seconds and minutes passed. The light in my eyes slowly faded, and I almost turned to leave when suddenly, Sun Yan stood up. The towel dropped to the floor. Her arms were so tense they trembled. Suppressing her voice, she almost growled, "Yes, I hate you. I utterly despise you. Su Cici, you are worthless. When does your memory begin?" "At 6 years old, 8, 10, I remember from the age of 2. When you were still playing with building blocks and dolls, I could recite the 3-character classic in full. Mom was so happy, she called Dad to let me recite it to him over the phone. She urged Dad to come home quickly, saying she wanted to take me to the hospital for an IQ test. 120, that was my test result, higher intelligence, relatively outstanding among others, but that's all. But Mom wouldn't listen. She thought she had birthed a genius. A genius needs a particular way of nurturing and educational investment. She dreamed of a bright future. I said I wanted candy. She said no, geniuses shouldn't eat candy, but Dad still bought me 2. I ate the lychee-flavored one and left the strawberry for you. That was the last lollipop I ever ate, Susisi. How can you live so carefree and unbounded? I begged you, don't go out to play, study and read with me, keep me company, but you couldn't sit still, couldn't learn, you're just worthless, you're nothing but a waste, ignored and abandoned by Mom. But I am a genius. If I turned from a genius into nothing, I would die, she would kill me. A flash of lightning tore through the night, revealing Sun Yan's eyes, red and swollen with desperation, helplessness, and fear. Then a thunderclap exploded nearby. I couldn't help but shiver, a bone-chilling cold spreading from my fingertips throughout my body. What are you talking about? Who would kill you? Shenfang. Sun Yan swayed, raising her hand to wipe away her tears. You don't understand, you know nothing. Have you ever been in a room that can't be locked, where someone can silently stand behind you at any moment? She can't understand the content of the books, but she would suddenly speak up. Criticizing you for being too close to the book, for your sitting posture, for letting your mind wander. You can't relax for even a second. Those eyes follow you like a shadow, like a festering sore clinging to the bone. Have you ever tried sleeping while someone watches you? Open your eyes, and there's someone standing right in front of your bed. They might wipe your sweat, cover you with a blanket, hold your hand, or do nothing at all. Just quietly watch you. You are my everything. I only have you. You must strive. You cannot slack off. You cannot fall behind. You must be first. Be the best one. My child should be the best. Only if you do your best will Dad come back. He won't abandon us. Or else what will we do? I can only take you with me in death. All these words seemed to have exhausted all of Sun Yan's strength. She leaned on the sofa, and it took her a long time to stand up again. Her voice regained its calm. Mom took sleeping pills. She won't wake up tonight. You came in on your own. It has nothing to do with me. Her steps were unsteady as she floated back to her own room like a lost soul. I relaxed, collapsing into the chair. There are some things I no longer want to ask about, including the words under the bed. Sun Yan's suicide remains a mystery. She left neither a word nor a note. Shenfang nearly tore the house apart, seeking the truth behind Sun Yan's suicide. It wasn't until someone lifted the bedboard that everyone froze in place. The crookedly engraved words, like a pair of large hands, choked everyone present. Save me, save me, save me, Susisi, save me. Why did Sun Yan need saving? Why was my name there? Shenfang grabbed my neck, screaming, what did you do to Nian Nian? Did you cause her death? Susisi, why don't you die? Why wasn't it you who died? I don't understand either. Why, was Sun Yan asking me to save her? Or was it because of me that she needed saving? At that moment, Shenfang's hatred towards me left me numb. I was deeply perplexed. Sun Yan, what exactly are you trying to tell me? That night, I took over her room. After she closed the door, I crawled under the bed. It was spotless, cleaner than the floor outside. Turning on the light on my phone, I shone it on the bedboard. The dense, jumbled words had taken up half the space. I trembled as I touched my name. So, Sun Yan, were you asking me to save you? Shenfang glared at me. How did you get in? I nonchalantly sipped my porridge. Locking me out last night was the first and last time. Otherwise, what will you do? Shenfang sneered. This is my house. You can only enter if I let you. If I don't let you in, Susisi, what are you doing? She screamed, wanting to come forward but daring not to. I pulled Sun Yan's hair, pressing scissors against her scalp. She didn't move, except for a muffled groan of pain at the beginning. She said nothing. Shenfang shook all over, both angry and anxious. Let go of Nian Nian. What on earth do you want to do? I raised an eyebrow. Don't move, otherwise, I wouldn't know if it was her hair or her neck that I was cutting with these scissors, I declared. Shenfang gasped in shock. Susisi, oh. With a snap, I chopped off a large chunk of Sun Yan's waist-length hair. Shenfang cried out in pain as if I had cut into her flesh. Her scream pleased me, and without any pattern or beauty, I waved the scissors, each cut fierce and deliberate, locks of hair fell to the floor in disarray, Shenfeng's cries echoed in my ears. At this moment, Sun Yan looked a complete mess, her hair uneven and jagged, with stray strands everywhere, yet, she kept her eyes downcast. As if all of this had nothing to do with her. Finally, I threw down the scissors. The next second, Shenfeng, screaming, charged at me and pushed me out. She trembled as she cradled Sun Yan's face, looking at her as if her precious treasure had been ruined. She yelled again and grabbed a stool nearby. I turned and ran out, but just as I was nearing the door, the flying stool hit me in the back. The pain made me gasp, but I didn't stop. I ran down the stairs as fast as I could. I ran into Zhou Xi, who was coming up. What happened to you? Why are you so pale? Are you hurt? What was that noise upstairs? Did you fight with your mom? Get lost. Zhou Xi grabbed me, looking displeased. Why are you always like this, Su Sisi? Can't you speak nicely? You're like a rock in a latrine, both stinky and hard. Can't you change your temper? No matter what. That's your mom, you. I took a deep breath and shook him off. It's early in the morning. Don't make me slap you, Su Sisi, Zhou Xi. I looked at him coldly. Little lord raised in a honey jar, stay away from me, from our house, and from Sun Yan. Zhou Xi's lips pressed into a straight line, his face darkening. I can't do that, Su Sisi. I won't give up on Sun Yan no matter what. I will protect her, and not let her be harmed. Ha, I scoffed, my laugh full of sarcasm. Protect her? Who are you? Does she even remember who you are? Trying to be a hero without a clue, idiot. Days passed neither too fast nor too slow. I had completely broken ties with that family. With me around, the atmosphere at home would drop to freezing, like an ice cellar. Shenfeng took Sun Yan to get her hair styled. Now, she looked like a tomboy. She became even colder towards me, not even sparing me a glance. I still left early and returned late every day, busy with my own life. The only nuisance was Zhou Xi. After disappearing for 3 or 4 days, he started showing up at the dessert shop every day, staying all day long. We didn't talk at all, but I noticed he often stared at me, lost in thought. Soon, most of the summer vacation had passed, and I received my first paycheck. Meanwhile, the day I had been waiting for arrived. Tomorrow, Sun Yan was going to participate in a citywide music concert, which would be broadcast live. On such an important occasion, our extremely busy father absolutely needed to be there. Shenfeng's nervousness was palpable. She stayed with Sun Yan, making her play her piece over and over again. While telling her not to be nervous, she kept repeating, "You must perform well, you cannot make any mistakes, absolutely no errors." To this, I could only scoff coldly. Shenfeng glared at me furiously. In the morning, before dawn had even broken, Sun Yan was already up and playing again by Shenfeng's calling. I buried myself in my blanket, irritated, and fell back into a restless sleep. By the time I woke up again, they were already gone. The dessert shop was bustling today. After a busy spell, my cousin shot me a knowing look. Where's my silly brother today? Why didn't he come? I don't know. Perhaps he went to cultivate his taste, I replied. What's that supposed to mean? I just smiled and offered no explanation. When I got home in the evening, Shenfeng was jubilantly dancing around, repeatedly saying how proud Sun Yan made her. It seemed the performance went perfectly, yet, Su Guiyong was nowhere to be seen. Hey! Where's our old man? Has he not come home thrice? Shenfeng's face froze, clearly stung by my words. What do you know? Your dad is very busy. Where do you think all this food and drink comes from? Do you think earning money is easy? Is that so? I thought he was busy entertaining his mistress. What nonsense are you spouting? Fine, I shrugged. Let's just say I'm talking nonsense. Shenfeng blocked my way with a grim face. Do you know something? I teased her patience with a half-smile. Seeing her on the verge of exploding, I slowly spoke up. At the Juanhao Hotel, I saw him entering with a woman. Shenfeng looked as if struck by lightning, her face contorting like a demon's. She grabbed her bag from the table and stormed out without looking back. Compared to Shenfeng, I despised Su Guiyong even more. As a child, I depended on him. He wasn't as biased or harsh as Shenfeng. He always disapproved of Shenfeng's behavior. Both the palm and the back of the hand are flesh. How can you act like this? So, I confided all my sadness and grievances to him. I said, if mom and dad were to divorce, I'd want to stay with dad. Su Guiyong, both pained and relieved, rubbed my head gently, but that night, during an argument with Shenfeng, he blurted out, Cici even hopes we divorce. She doesn't want to stay with you. See how much of a failure you are as a mother. Su Guiyong grabbed his luggage and left. Shenfang looked at me menacingly, dragged me by my hair from the living room to the kitchen, and made me kneel there all night. I cried and called Su Guiyong, begging him to come back, saying I was scared. He scolded Shenfang over the phone and comforted me, but he never came back. Is this love? Shenfang bluntly told me she didn't love me. Su Guiyong told me he loved me, he felt for me, but he did nothing, only to end by telling me he loved me, but he was helpless. Sun Yan removed the wig from her head, slowly stood up, and prepared to go back to her room. Let me take off my makeup, she said, change your clothes and come with me, I said. Sun Yan stopped in her tracks but made no further move. I'll wait only 10 minutes, when the time's up, I'm leaving. Where are you taking me? I'm selling you. Sun Yan paused. Momentarily stunned, she stared at me blankly, which inexplicably pleased me. I tapped on the table. Hurry up. Startled, Sun Yan turned and hurried toward the bedroom, her steps quickening. She even stumbled near the door. After 8.5 minutes, Sun Yan emerged from the bedroom. She wore a plain white dress, her cheeks unusually flushed, slightly out of breath. Clearly, she had rushed. I lifted my chin and led the way out. Sun Yan followed closely behind. Whenever I looked back, she was always a meter away. Our first stop was a sweet house. My cousin's eyes widened. She really does look just like you, but it's easy to tell you two apart. Your sister is gentle, and you're lively. I smiled. We are different individuals, naturally easy to recognize. I picked up a piece of cake and a cup of coffee, placing them in front of Sun Yan. The shop's most popular matcha cake and a cappuccino. Try them. Sun Yan blinked and politely took the spoon. I'm working part-time here. The time I'm not at home, I'm here. The boss is nice, and the colleagues are friendly, but there's a lot to learn. This cappuccino took me half a day to learn how to make the latte art. You could probably learn it in an hour. Recently, I've also been learning to make cakes with the master. It's quite interesting. Sun Yan quietly listened as she ate the cake in small bites. I took the half-eaten cake away. Save some room. We'll eat something else in a bit. Is there anything you'd like to eat? Sun Yan thought for a moment. Street food. So, I took her to the university town, a whole street of food stalls, from one end of the street to the other and back again. Took us an hour and a half. Sun Yan looked a bit pale. Stomachache. Let's not eat anymore. Come on, I'll take you to the next place. After a 20-minute bus ride, we got off, seeing the familiar building. Sun Yan looked puzzled. I didn't explain but led her to a small low-rise building nearby, on the second floor, the third room on the left. I unlocked the door. The space is small, just a bed, a wash basin, and a bathroom. The desk and chairs over there. I bought those myself, no choice. The rental houses near our school are expensive, and this is the cheapest. I rented it using Sister Zhou's identity. She paid for a year, and I reimburse her monthly. I handed the key to Sun Yan. This door can be locked from the inside, and this is the only key. If someone knocks, you can choose to open it or not. Do you want to stay here tonight? Sun Yan gripped the key tightly in her hand, her fingertips turning white. A minute passed, and without waiting for her answer, I left the rental room. Outside the door, I crouched for a long while until I heard the sound of the door being locked from the inside. With a barely noticeable smile, I slowly stood up and walked down the stairs. Shenfang was never easy to get along with. She was stubborn to the point of being paranoid, with a strong desire to control everything. Anything out of her control could drive her mad. The one who could most trigger her emotions was Su Guiyong. Su Guiyong wouldn't answer her calls, wouldn't take her out, and wouldn't come home. Do you know how busy I am? Do you realize how hard it is to provide for a family? Why don't I take care of the kids and you earn the money? Shenfang was like a paper tiger, prone to tantrums and unreasonable behavior, but with Su Guiyong, she always backed down. As long as he came home, it was enough. As long as they didn't divorce, it was enough. Was she completely unaware of Su Guiyong's affairs outside? Impossible. She just chose to turn a blind eye, deceiving herself. Now that I had exposed it, Shenfang was bound to go insane. She stormed into the hotel and attacked the other woman. Enraged, Su Guiyong kicked Shenfang out. What he didn't expect was that someone reported the hotel for illegal activities, drawing both the police and the trailing reporters. The entire scene was captured on camera. Those who needed to go to the hospital went, and those who needed to go to the police station went. It was another eventful night. The next day, when I stood in front of Sun Yan, her expression changed from confusion to shock, then to understanding. And finally, it turned pale. Su Cece, what are you trying to do? In the reflection of the window, I saw myself with a short haircut identical to hers, styled from a photo I showed to the hairstylist. I was also wearing a white dress, taken from her wardrobe, with an expression as cold and detached as hers. Who could tell which one was Sun Yen and which one was Su Cece? I looked at her seriously. Let's play a game. From today, you are Su Cece, and I am Sun Yen. You run away. And I settled the scores. Su Guiyong wouldn't admit to his infidelity. He merely said that the woman was his subordinate, and they were alone together to discuss work. It was Shenfang who was paranoid and distrustful. If we don't even have basic trust, then let's just get a divorce. Upon hearing this, Shenfang immediately deflated. She accepted Su Guiyong's explanation and swallowed her grievances. In the living room, Su Guiyong was losing his patience. Alright, I brought you back. There are things to attend to at the factory. I must leave immediately. Aren't you eating at home, Su Guiyong? Do you even care about this home anymore? I'm busy all day, and I hardly see you. When you finally come back, you leave before your seat even gets warm. Enough already. Do you know how much I lost because of this fuss? What am I supposed to do if I don't go back? Should I just lose the clients and the money? How are we supposed to live? Shenfang closed her mouth, holding her breath. She could neither swallow nor spit it out. Su Guiyong glanced at her with disgust, but turned to me with a warm and gentle look. Nian, you should study hard at home and listen to your mother. Whatever you want, just tell Dad, and I'll buy it for you. By the way, where is Cece? Why haven't I seen her for so long? Shenfang, did you scold or beat Cece again? You always say both your children are your flesh and blood, but how can you be so biased? The mention of that name almost made Shenfang faint. I slowly began to speak. Su Cece has been driven away by me. Shenfang and Su Guiyong both turned to look at me, and the room fell silent, so quiet you could hear a pin drop. Nian, what are you talking about? What do you mean Cece has been driven away by you? Did Su Cece bully you again? This is such a misfortune for our family, such a misfortune. I kept a calm expression and spoke evenly. Su Cece was severely affecting my studies, making it impossible for me to concentrate, so I asked her not to come back until after the college entrance exams. Su Guiyong's face was full of disapproval and condemnation. Nian, Cece is your sister after all, although she can be quite troublesome. Turning her away like this is wrong. What nonsense are you talking about? Do you even know what Su Cece has turned into now? Look at Nian's hair. It was Cece who cut it, and she even called the police to arrest me. It's good that she's gone. I've wanted to drive her out for a long time. Don't you have any sense of being a mother? Our home is never peaceful, and it's all because of you. And do you act like a father should? You're just being unreasonable. I don't want to talk about this anymore. As they started arguing again, I stood up to break the deadlock. I think the most important thing at this stage is the college entrance exam. To make a good impact on the exams, everyone in our family should compromise and make concessions. Since Su Cece is also a member of this family, what does it matter if she makes some sacrifices? Shenfang's eyes lit up, nodding in agreement. Su Guiyong hesitated. Fine, do whatever you want. I don't care anymore. Dad, you are the pillar of our family, how can you not care? I actually need a favor from you, Dad. Can you give me 50,000 yuan? Su Guiyong's eyes widened. Nian, what do you need 50,000 yuan for? This is for the next year's living expenses, tuition, and accommodation fees for Su Cece. I promised her this, and she assured she won't spread rumors and will tell everyone she moved out voluntarily. 50,000 yuan isn't a lot, but it's enough for a student to live comfortably for a year and even save some for college. 50,000 yuan is not a small amount either. And even though Su Guiyong could easily spend that amount on a handbag for someone else, he is reluctant to spend it for his own family. We are all family, why bring money into this? Cece is being unreasonable. Shenfang also felt it was too much. Why should we give her whatever she asks for? This is outrageous. I remained silent. They vented their emotions freely. At last, she lightly said, when I become the top scorer in the college entrance exam, there will definitely be media interviews. I really hope there won't be any idle gossip by then. For a moment, they all fell silent. Su Guiyong reluctantly accepted the 50,000 yuan, while Shenfang felt as though she was biting off a piece of her own flesh in pain. When I delivered the money to Sun Yen, she was standing at the counter, wearing my clothes and a wig. Zhou Ci was beside her, slowly operating the coffee machine, glancing at her after each step he completed. When Sun Yen nodded obediently, Zhou Ci's lips curled into a satisfied smile. I watched this scene for a long time before turning away without hesitation. Zhou Xi caught up with me when I reached the bus station. Su Sisi, he called out, panting. I knew at first glance that wasn't you. Did Sun Yan's suicide have something to do with your parents? Is this your solution, to replace her? Su Sisi, what are you trying to do, Zhou Xi? Like in a past life, I tidied his messy hair from running. Zhou Xi froze, his eyes filled with emotions I couldn't understand. Su Sisi, don't mess around, I chuckled lightly. Are you afraid I'll commit suicide? Do you think I'm the type to do that? Zhou Xi shook his head. You wouldn't, even if you were to commit suicide, you'd take someone down with you. He knows me well, indeed, so, mind your own business. If you really want to help, just do like today. Helping Sun Yan check and fill the gaps, that's enough. Zhou Xi, you can't be a savior to anyone, only she can save herself. When I got home, Shenfang had already prepared dinner, the usual stewed beef, scrambled eggs, vegetables, rice, and a glass of milk. Nian, drink the milk first. While it's warm, I picked up the milk and, in front of Shenfang, poured it all into the sink. Sun Yan, what are you doing? I won't be drinking this milk anymore. Why? You know this is to supplement your nutrition. I've never had it myself. I've always saved it just for you. How could you pour it away? Do you really not know I'm lactose intolerant? I had asked Sun Yan the same question before. She was silent for a long time, then nodded, acknowledging she knew. When she was little, she didn't drink milk often, only occasionally Shenfang would give her some. And when she ended up vomiting and having diarrhea, Shenfang would excitedly call Su Guiyong, telling him Sun Yan was sick, urging him to come back quickly. If Sun Yan refused to drink, she would stare at her. Don't you want Dad to come back to see you? Shenfang's face turned ugly. Lactose intolerance. How come I didn't know about this? Nian, don't listen to others talking nonsense. They're just trying to make money by fooling you into buying supplements. Mom is doing this for your own good. Look, you've been drinking it for so many years without any problems. Could your mother possibly harm you? I stepped back, looking at her disappointedly. I study so hard and ask nothing of you, only hoping you could provide good support, a balanced diet, healthy food pairing. Can't you manage even this simple thing? Forget it. I think I'll just ask Dad to hire a nanny for me, I said, disbelief evident on Shenfang's face. Who have I been working so hard for? She exclaimed. You want to hire a nanny, Sun Yan? Do you even have a conscience? She questioned, as I looked on, puzzled. But you really aren't doing a good job. Can't I even say that? Mom, you have to admit your mistakes, only then can you correct them. In a fit of rage, Shenfang made a move to slap me, but I tripped her. Standing over her, expressionless, I looked down and said, Mom, acting like this, you really seem like a shrew. At 3 a.m., my alarm woke me up. I grabbed a knife from the kitchen and entered Shenfang's bedroom, angered by me. Her face had turned the color of a liver, and she had locked herself in her bedroom without even coming out for dinner. Approaching her bed, the knife clinked against the cabinet. A dull sound that was clearly audible in the dead of night. Shenfang stirred and slowly woke up. Our eyes meeting, the next second, her screams of terror and panic filled the air. Mom, don't be scared, it's me, Sun Yan. What are you doing? Why are you standing by my bed with a knife? Shenfang shrunk back into the corner of the bed, her voice shrieking. I sighed and sat down beside her bed. Mom, is this the knife you use when you cook for me? I waved the knife. It's so heavy, it must be hard to use for chopping vegetables, even though your cooking isn't great. I can't deny you put effort into it, Mom. As long as you don't affect my studies and future, you are still the mom I love the most. Alright, go to sleep, I'll watch over you. Shenfang looked on the verge of breaking down. She endured her fear and sent me back, but she didn't know, tonight was just the beginning. The next day, when she found out I had ordered food from a restaurant downstairs to be delivered, she exploded again, in front of the delivery person. She threw the food on the floor and smashed everything on the table. I remained silent and expressionless, just coldly and disdainfully watching her. Shenfang's actions gradually lessened, and hesitation, even embarrassment, flickered across her face. With a click of my tongue, I turned and walked out. Where are you going? Shenfang grabbed me. I calmly met her gaze. Mom, I have a heavy load of classes this afternoon. I need to nourish myself. Fear and fright often stem from a lack of a sense of power. As a child, I was afraid of Shenfang because I couldn't fight back against her. She could slap me across the room with ease, drag me effortlessly, pin me to the ground without me being able to struggle. Later, I grew to hate Shenfang. I hated her favoritism, mistreatment, and neglect, but I was no longer afraid of her. I could dodge her slaps, and if not, I could run. Even when I grabbed her arm, she couldn't break free anymore. My sister always had poor meals growing up, just leftovers and scraps, but she's physically stronger than me, rarely gets sick, and has more energy, I explained to Teacher Bai, who is a very gentle and attentive person. When she noticed my rapid breathing, she asked if I was feeling unwell, which led me to share these things with a bitter smile. You wouldn't believe it, but I'm lactose intolerant. Despite that, my mom insists on the benefits of milk and forces me to drink it. To keep me slim, she never lets me eat my fill. All my meals are low in oil and salt, utterly tasteless, whether I'm sick or not. My diet is always the same: beef, eggs, and green vegetables. I continued, I don't engage in outdoor sports because it's considered a waste of time. My legs are practically atrophying. Teacher Bai looked at me with a face full of sympathy. How can your mother be like that? She questioned. Good or not? It all depends on what's suitable. Everyone's body is different, doesn't she understand that? Moved, I glanced towards Teacher Bai. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw the door ajar. Shenfang must have come over because my music scores were left in her bag. Sighing, I said, Teacher Bai, I wish you were my mother. My mother should be like you, gentle, knowledgeable, and respectful of others. How can an adult who can't control her own emotions be fit to raise children and nurture the next generation? As Shenfang approached in a daze, she saw Zhou Xi pacing at the door, holding a box of pastries. What are you doing here? She asked. Su Sisi no longer lives here. Stop coming around. Zhou Xi scratched his head, embarrassed. Auntie, actually, I like Sun Yan. I made these pastries myself and wanted Sun Yan to try them. Shenfang froze, her look towards me filled with disappointment and a hint of glee. Sun Yan, what's going on? Did he say that? She asked. Don't you know this is a critical time for your college entrance exams? How can you do this? I just said. Oh, walked past her, opened the door, and took the pastries from Zhou Xi's hands. Thanks. Shenfang snatched the pastries and threw them on the ground. A relationship at such a young age. Your father and I work hard to send you to school to study, not to fall in love. Sun Yan, you've really disappointed me. The word disappointed was almost hissed through clenched teeth. I raised an eyebrow. He likes me, not the other way around. Why doesn't he like someone else? You really did nothing. If that's what you think, there's nothing I can do, I replied. Sun Yan, what kind of attitude is that? Amid Shenfang's roaring, I went into the kitchen, grabbed a kitchen knife, and threw it on the floor. If you think he shouldn't like me, then go ahead and kill him. Shenfang fell silent. Zhou Xi swallowed hard. His steps barely perceptible as he moved towards the door. He came because I called him. Zhou Xi was somewhat annoying. After all these incidents, he probably realized that showing up in front of Shenfang might cause trouble for me or Sun Yan, so he became more cautious but still lingered around. I gave him a call, just like that. Come whenever you want, and visit often if you like. To drive someone insane, you can't always use the same tactic. When every little thing around her could trigger her, she was on the verge of breaking down. That night, I appeared again at Shenfang's bedside, staring intently at her. This time, without making a sound. It took less than half a minute for her to jump up. I held her hand, speaking in a haunting tone. Mom, it's just you and me left in this family. You won't leave me, right? You have to believe that no matter what happens, I love you. But it would be better if you were a bit more outstanding. My mom has to be the best one, otherwise why would she be my mom, right? Alright, I'll sleep with you, just like when I was little. I won't leave you, and you should never leave me either. But just 2 days later, after I appeared at Shenfang's bedside for 2 consecutive nights, she locked her bedroom door. No matter how much I knocked or called, she refused to open it, so I took a cleaver and chopped her door down. The sturdy wooden door was split open with a small hole right in the middle. I bent down, peered in, and saw Shenfang standing there stiffly. I started speaking cheerily. Mom, why did you lock the door? I can't get in. Ah, Shenfang's continuous screaming woke up the neighbors upstairs and downstairs. Soon, people gathered around. What's going on here? Shenfang quickly opened the door and rushed out, pointing at me and shouting loudly. She's crazy, she chopped my door with a knife, she's insane, catch her. I tilted my head, my face the picture of innocence. It's because Mom locked the door, I couldn't get in, that's my room, but you broke my room's lock, and you can go in and out any time. You love me this way, so of course I should love you the same, isn't that right? The next day, Shenfang, pale-faced and avoiding eye contact. Had someone change my door lock? Sometimes when reason doesn't work, it's better not to argue. She says it doesn't hurt to be cut with a knife, so just cut her. Summer vacation ended before I knew it. Sunyan and I hadn't met again. When school started, as if by agreement, she took my seat and I took hers. Just like before, we had no interaction, and we avoided each other when we met face to face. The only one anxious was Zhou Ci. He asked me what would happen if I couldn't keep up with my grades. I scoffed. Who decided that Sunyan must be the top of the class? Does Sunyan want to be the top of the class? Sunyan didn't want to. She didn't even know what she wanted. She became more and more confused, distracted during classes, and slept on the desk after classes. I threw a book in front of her. See what you want to study, where you want to go to school. Sunyan stopped me. What do you want? I blurted out. To make money, a lot of money. I was already urging Shenfang to ask Su Guiyong for money. Shenfang was a very stubborn person. It was only after becoming Sunyan that I realized Su Guiyong sent just 2,000 yuan a month for household expenses. Su's wife managed this sum with extreme frugality, always telling Su Guiyong over the phone that she didn't spend a cent on herself, a fact she took pride in. The only time she felt justified in asking for more money was if it was needed for their child, claiming it wasn't for her own use. Twisted, stubborn, and needlessly martyring herself. Is she a pitiful person? Yes. But is that her own issue to deal with? What does it have to do with Su Cici and Sun Yen? Shenfang, visibly aged, growing increasingly insecure, any resistance from her was swiftly crushed by me. How do you crush someone? Simply step out of their logic, disregard their emotions, and it becomes quite easy. Like when I ask Su Guiyong for money, why should I need a reason? Whether he gives willingly or not doesn't matter. If you don't give, I'll make a scene. You lose money, you avoid disaster. Over the past 6 months, the whole house was chaotic, yet nobody talked about Su Cici. Just like when she was 10, she deliberately failed her exams, and nobody cared. Sun Yan got new shoes, she didn't. The balcony light was dim, and no one changed it for her. They forgot to give her living expenses one day, and she went hungry, hiding under the stairwell at home. She wondered, if she disappeared, would her parents worry desperately? Would they frantically search for her, then hold her and admit their wrongdoing? Su Cici waited from evening until sunset. As it got darker and people became scarce, no hurried footsteps, no cries or shouts, Su Cici got scared. She locked herself in the darkness, holding back tears until she couldn't anymore, and ran home crying. Shenfang mocked her with a sneer. You have the nerve to run away from home. Don't come back if you're so capable, expecting me to look for you. No way. Su Guiyong sighed, helplessly stroking Su Cici's hair, his expression gentle, his tone soft. Don't do this again, Dad will worry. Be good. At that moment, Su Cici shivered with a chill. Zhou Ci also asked me, can they really not tell you and Sun Yan apart? No, they just don't care. They don't care who is Sun Yan or Su Cici. They only want the child who is the best. Now, under my torment, they don't even care whether Sun Yan excels or not. After all, when Shenfang questioned me about my dropping grades, I nonchalantly blamed her. Because of you, you can't provide a good environment. I'm worn out. They say parents are the first teachers, but if you can't even manage your own figure or emotions, how can I improve? If I had a better mom, I'd definitely be more impressive now. Mom, you neither earn money nor take care of the home well. What's the point of your existence? Shenfang is breaking down every day. Occasionally she looks at me with suspicion, but as soon as I start playing the piano, she dismisses all doubts. The current Sun Yan might not be good, but Su Cici is even worse. She definitely doesn't play the piano. Shenfang can't even tell that I play the same piece every time, just like she doesn't realize that no matter how useless I am, I have always been in the top 10 of my grade. The only thing that worried me was when Shenfang took me to a psychologist. She complained that I was disobedient, my grades were slipping, and I was rebellious. The diagnosis given was moderate depression and moderate anxiety. I was skeptical and thought the doctor was incompetent, but later, I let it go. Sun Yan is sick. Who says Su Cici has to be normal? I had a great time tormenting Shenfang. How could I forget about Su Guiyong? I remember taking photos of several pollution outlets at his factory, and the unclear relationship between him and his married accountant. Important photos must be sent to the right people, for business matters. I approached his competitors. For personal matters, I approached the accountant's husband. Zhou Ci also helped me deliver those photos. His gaze was complex, There are some things he will never understand. Empathy is an impossible feat. Soon, Su Guiyong was in deep trouble. A moment of rage leads to bloodshed. The accountant's husband held a knife to Su Guiyong's neck, and though he didn't cut, it scared Su Guiyong severely. He didn't dare to pursue the matter, as he would lose face completely. Then came the audits from various departments. He was given deadlines for rectification. Su Guiyong didn't take it seriously. He thought he could bribe his way out with meals and money. 3 months later, his factory was sealed. Helpless, Su Guiyong returned home in disgrace. At that moment, the real dispute between the two began. In less than a week, the previously happy Shenfeng couldn't stand Su Guiyong anymore. Staying up late, either going out to play cards, drinking with friends, or just watching TV at home, not doing any housework, leaving dirty clothes and socks everywhere, and constantly complaining about Shenfeng. They had the most intense argument ever. For the first time, Shenfeng told Su Guiyong to get out. I watched with great amusement. It was just too noisy, so, humming a tune, I went back to my room. Sun Yan had chosen her major. She wanted to study biological sciences at a university in Anhui. As for me, I followed the path of my previous life and chose my alma mater. Zhou Xi, however, became more and more silent, silently watching me, silently following me. What exactly do you want, Su Cece? Do you like me? Does it matter? Doesn't it matter? I took a deep breath. Zhou Xi, if you had a do-over just to figure out who I like and who you like, then that's pretty lame. Time swiftly moved forward, rolling us along as we raced ahead. Shenfeng and Su Guiyong started discussing divorce. She tried many times to seek comfort from me, but I coldly turned her away. She broke down crying, and I just silently watched her, like watching a hysterical lunatic. Gradually, it seemed that Shenfeng began to fear me. I was thriving, and she was aging day by day. How could she not be afraid? But she can rest assured, I will eventually treat her the way she treated me. Finally, the college entrance exams arrived as scheduled. Sun Yan had already packed her bags and bought her ticket for that night. She was eager to leave, to go somewhere completely new. I looked at her indifferently and softly said, Su Cece must live well in some corner of this world until a ripe old age. Sun Yan hurriedly lowered her head. She approached and hugged me. Su Cece, I really hate you, she said, but what can I do? You're the one I love the most. That night, Zhou Xi stopped me as well. He grinned nonchalantly. Aren't you trying to provoke your parents? I can help you with that, free of charge. I rolled my eyes. Idiot. As I turned away, Zhou Xi's voice grew softer. Su Cece, we shouldn't have come to this point. For all these years, I've been wondering if I really like you. I don't know. But I do know that I'm not willing to leave you. That day, you said being with me was just about winning, just to get one over on Sun Yan, and not about real feelings. I was hurt, so I blurted out those words. Su Cece, I like you. I slightly lifted my gaze, my heart filled with mixed emotions. It's hard to say I was sad, but I felt somewhat stifled. Zhou Xi was talking about the day he discovered Sun Yan's portrait. He said it was just youthful melancholy and told me not to make a fuss. He said Sun Yan was someone who had already left, and I should just let it be. But how could I endure knowing that years of feelings were just a deception? So, I scoffed sarcastically, well, we really are a pair, you using me as a substitute for Sun Yan, and me using you as a tool to get one over on Sun Yan. Perfect. No one owes anyone anything. Zhou Xi's eyes widened. What did you say? I said I never liked you. I just wanted to beat Sun Yan for once. At that moment, Zhou Xi's eyes were stormy. Ha. That saves me from feeling indebted to you. Su Cece, you really can't compare to Sun Yan at all. I regret using you as a substitute. The harsh words of the past still echoed in my ears, but now everything had changed. In the end, I said nothing more and slowly walked into the shadows. Side story, Sun Yan. Sun Yan once again woke up from a nightmare, sitting up abruptly, gasping for breath. It was her 8th year since she had left, and she still couldn't sleep peacefully. She was trying hard to live her life, making friends, seeing the world, conducting experiments, doing research. Things seemed to be getting better, but only Sun Yan knew that sometimes, in the dead of night, she felt a desperate urge to jump out of the window, but she couldn't. She was now Su Cece. Su Cece had to die a natural death. Sun Yan had always hated Su Cece. She was like a cockroach that couldn't be killed. No matter how Shenfeng treated her, she would be upset for a night, but by the next day, her eyes would be bright again. How could she be so carefree and free-spirited? She did whatever she wanted, went wherever she wanted, but Sun Yan couldn't. she was trapped in endless classes, endless problems to solve. She had to strive to be Shinfeng's best child. Su Sisi had 2 healthy legs, she could run to any corner of the world, but Sun Yan's wings were clipped, her limbs broken. She couldn't go anywhere. This led Sun Yan to despair countless times. She wished Su Sisi could see her, save her. Sun Yan never thought that what destroys a person could be love. Maybe she was just not as strong or capable as Su Sisi. Sun Yan thought, this is it, this is her life. But then, Su Sisi gave her a choice to become Su Sisi. Sun Yan was tempted. This was her 8th year as Su Sisi. One day, a friend sent her a photo in surprise. Look, doesn't this look like you? I was shocked. Are you sure you don't have a twin sister or something? Sun Yan stared at the photo, zooming in further and further. It was a cold-looking girl in professional attire, wearing gold-rimmed glasses, her whole demeanor warding off strangers. It was the real Su Sisi. Sun Yan had inquired about Su Sisi countless times. She knew Su Sisi had gotten into her dream university, but that was not what Shinfeng wanted. What would she do to Su Sisi? Sun Yan tossed and turned, bought a ticket and rushed back home, hiding for half a month. Until Su Sisi told her to get lost. It's none of your business, she's no match for me, you let her walk all over you. Sun Yan thought, she really was useless. Why was it that the problem that nearly drove her to her wits' end had no effect on Su Sisi? Sun Yan had always known Su Sisi was exceptional. She had to work tirelessly just to maintain her position as the top student in her grade, yet, Su Sisi easily broke into the top 10, the musical scores she had to practice over and over. Su Sisi could master in one go. Sun Yan was terrified. If there had to be a failure in the family, she wished it were Su Sisi, but it seemed, from the beginning to the end, she was the failure. Somehow, that felt okay. Suddenly, Sun Yan terribly missed Su Sisi. She grabbed a portrait and smashed it against his face. The phone was quickly answered. Who is this? Sun Yan gripped her phone so tightly that her whole hand trembled. She couldn't utter a word, her breathing just became more rapid. After a long while, Su Sisi spoke. I'm busy. If you're not afraid anymore, come back. With a swish, Sun Yan's tears flowed down. She responded with a her tone filled with relief. She thought, she was going home.